Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 3 on the fat tyre flyer. We are going to be cracking on with the frame today, getting the textures. We've got rivets to do, things like that, so I'm going to show you how you put all the textures in on this frame. I'll pop a picture up in the screen now. We're going to do all the welds on this frame like brazing, so we're going to do like the gold coppery colour on all these welds, and it will just make all these welds pop. We'll do drop shadows on them as well. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to crack on with this frame, and then in part 4 we'll do the back tread, the forks, and move on to dropping all the logos in and things like that. So I'll stick you in some real time on this and talk you through as I go along, and there will be some time lapses as well, because this is going to take quite a bit of time, guys. So some of the bits we're going to use today, airbrush wise, we're going to be using the Creos PS290. This is a 0.5mm airbrush, and this will be good for getting a bit of coverage down on the first part for the textures, like dropping quite a bit of paint down on this. So we're going to use that one. And then for the intricate pieces, I've got the Iwata Takumi Eclipse. This is another good all-rounder. You can get some good detail with this, and you get good paint flow with this brush as well. So any sort of slightly thicker paints, this one on a 0.35 will cope with it quite nicely. So they're the two brushes. Paints, we're using golden. I've got a bit of Com Art, and I've also got some of the FW range in these little pots here. These have got the pipettes on the top where you can pour the paint in. So we've got some pearlescence on that for doing these welds. We've got the Scott McKay Pocket Graphics, which has got like the rivets that we're going to be using. We've got some shapes and things like that for doing some bits on the frame as we go along. Scotch-Brite for doing textures. I've got shields, a texture piece of template there we can use. Cleaning wise, thinners, water, just your standard sort of blast through sort of products to get your brushes clean. A little pot to blast through and change with. So we're all set up. So I'll drop the first colour down on this, which is going to be a black. We've got a watered down black here, and I'm just going to dust over the whole frame in like a very soft black, just to tone this frame down. Now off camera, before I started the video, I've Scotch-Brighted this frame up in a grey Scotch-Brite, because we've put a base coat down and it's solvent. This base coat is cured down, and you just need to re-key this surface up. So a little Scotch-Brite over the top of this, just to scuff it up, and it will give something for your paint to adhere to on this next stage. So we'll drop a bit of paint in the PS290, and this paint is quite thick. Just give that a little test, and that's coming out really nice. And you're just aiming to mist over the frame like this. So you're just putting a dust coat over the frame like that. And this brush is really good for this type of work, guys. This is the spot cap on this. You have got the fan cap as well, but I've dropped the spot on this so you can get in the small intricate places, and you're just dusting over the frame nice and light. Like so. And you can just get in all these little intricate places with this brush. Trigger's really nice on this as well, nice and responsive, so you can get a tiny bit of paint down, or you can get a lot of paint down when you need it. So recommended if you want to do things like priming thinned out primers and things like that, this brush is absolutely perfect for this, guys. It really is. I've sprayed clear coats with this, I've done base coats with it, and it's I had no problem with them sort of paints as long as you'll thin them down to a consistency, because this is a 0.5. You can't put neat clear coats down in it. I'll just move around this side and get these bits. So just a dusting over. I'll just move the camera around so you can see a little bit clearer this side. So it's just a bit round the back of this. And there. And don't worry if you go in too dark, because we're going to be doing some textures on this, and you're just going to be knocking this paint back in a minute. I think that will do for a pass. Drop a bit of water in there. Little back flush, and that'll just stop it from drying up. So you've dusted down the frame in black, so you've got a soft tone of black over there. We could go a little bit heavier, but we can just build these layers as we go along. Now you'll get a grey Scotch-Brite, and you just start to drag over the frame and knock this black back. And because this is water base, you'll be taking the water base paint off and not the silver. And you'll just create a texture in that frame, and that's what you're aiming for, just to drop a texture. Try and keep it consistent, the way, a certain way, instead of like going that way and all different ways, because you want to make this look like a steel effect, like that. You're basically just scratching the black off and giving it a steel texture. So a simple one to do. I've done this on the channel a few times now. I did it on the e-bike, on my personal e-bike, and gave it the textures like this. Just give you that more of a steel look. So that's the first pass on that, this side. And as I say, you're just dragging it off and you're scratching back and creating scratches into that black, knocking it back to the silver. And as I say, if you go too thick and too much, this water base will just drag off, not a problem. And you're back to your original silver. So you can have a play. If it don't work out, you know you can drop a bit more on if need be. It's not going to affect the paint underneath, because you've got a solid solvent base underneath this, and you are just knocking off water base. So we'll mix a little bit more paint up and do a second pass on this. And you're just building the layers up. to give it that raw steel look. A little bit more round back. The black, we'll just let that set up for a minute. You can go straight in when the paint is wet and drag it, but you tend to get more of a smear sort of a pass. So just let it dry down for a bit and then go in with your Scotch-Brite and start to drag it back. So that'll be enough black on there for the pass, for the textures on that. We're going to start the welds after this, and these are going to be a bright, we're going to try this gold pearlescent, and we'll drop that in on the welds, go around with the shield so you get a nice tight line. We'll drop a gold pass on all the welds going all the way around, get a stencil. I'm going to knock some of the gold back with a bit of black and just tone it down for the drop shadow, and then we can drop shadow all the TIG welds, like the brazing welds going round on all these, and these will just pop off this silver. So that'll be the next step. This should be good to go for scratching back. So just drop your textures in again. And I always say try and follow the way the frame goes with the tubes. Just makes it look a little bit more realistic if you follow a certain pattern. With this, nice and easy process, but looks very effective, especially when it's clear coated. It really does stand out because you're getting your silver base coat underneath, and that just shines on them textures, and it looks really cool, guys, when you've got it done. So the battery casing will go the same sort of way. It'll be this sort of textures, but we're going to have text on that as well. There's going to be text on this frame, but that will be in the next part. I'll take you through that. They're going to be pre-cut stencils from a sign shop with all the text, and we're going to be basing this, the actual bike will be off an old school SE racing style on text, but just naming it slightly different. So they're sort of like your old classic BMX SE racing, like the old PK Ripper and things like that. It'll be the similar sort of text to that on this. So just follow your tubes the way they go for your textures. And as I say, if you go and you take too much off, you can always put some back on, as it's water based, not a problem. Right, so we've got all the textures in on the frame. Scratching back now, what I've done is I've got a transparent blue, and when you see steel that's heated up, you get them colour changes near the welds. So we're going to drop a little bit of blue, and then we're going to drop a little bit of purple over, and just sort of dusting in. You probably can't really see this on camera, but we're just dusting a very light pass of blue and giving it a highlight just off the welds. And this will give it a look like the steel's been heated up. So you're just doing a little halo round the welds. So it's like changed the colour of the steel. A little bit more blue. And that's the sort of blue that I'm using, is that, but going in really lightly, just doing a very soft pass. So it looks sort of transparent. So you're dropping it down like a candy where the welds are. A little bit around here. Build it nice and light, don't go in too heavy too quick. So that'll do for the pass of that. So you are aiming for, I'll just take the camera off, you're aiming for that soft blue glow around the welds. All on them welds, just coming out from the welds like that. And now we'll drop the next colour in, which is going to be a purple. So we'll just tap that around there. So a quick blast through. So the colour that we're going to be using is that purple there, which is like a transparent, and then just come off and give that a little dusting of purple. around the welds. And you're going really light on this, guys. You're not hammering it down, just putting a real soft tone of this purple in. And this will just give you the look of the steel, just change colour as it's got hot. So you're just mixing that purple just very lightly into the blue. And bringing it down like a dagger stroke and just feathering it out to give it that soft colour change. I'll just take it off the tripod. So that's the colour you're aiming for, that nice glow between the blue and the purple coming off them welds, like that. So that's just like the colour change in the heat of the steel. You can drop other colours in like a yellow and things like that and just change it again. I might drop a little, just a flick out of yellow on these just to give it that little sort of heated red sort of colour. And this is like an orangey brown. Just a very light mist. And I'm doing this colour close up to the weld and just coming off that. Because then we're going to do the brazed welds in a second and drop the bronze effect on that. A little bit more around here. So nice and quick. Give it a little pound on that. So you're aiming for that little fade off round the welds, and that gives you that colour change going the blue, the purple, so it's heated up. And now we can concentrate on the actual welds itself. So we're going to go over the top of these welds in some. I'm going to drop some copper down, just see how this goes. Or no, I'm going to drop this iridescent copper fine, which is a golden colour, and then we can tint over the top of that with another colour and just see how that goes. Just give the quick brush a quick clean. Little back brush. I'm just going to try this, see what it's like. And that works really well. That's a good colour on there, guys, that. So we'll just go around the weld like this. And then we can do some drop shadows. So you're just following the weld round. And when this is clear coated, this will really pop, because this is like a very fine metallic. Just go around this side, do this side, pan around here. So you're just keeping it on top of the weld that's there, following the line. Do, I think. Welds. The welds in, so they're looking really cool now, guys, that colour. And on these like TIG welds that they are, it just gives it that ripple effect on these. These ones are a little bit smoother, but we're going to put them patterns into these and just highlight them with a drop shadow. But that's looking really cool. You've got your colour change in your heat of your steel as it's come through, and then you've got your brazed welds on this. So it's really coming together. nice and quick. This is probably been about 20 minutes to get this done, to get these textures in. Nice and quick process. Once you've got your silver base coat down, you can just work off with your colours and work them in. So the next stage we're going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit more of this one up, tone it back with a bit of black to darken it, and we're going to put some of the textures in on these and just highlight them up and just make them pop a little bit more. So I'll stick you back on the tripod and we'll crack on. So I've got a little bit of black mixed up, and you're just going to go in and follow the actual groove of the weld and just give it a little drop shadow. Just to highlight them welds. Like that, so you can see the ripple in the weld, and just follow the pattern that the actual weld's going. You're not going to do it on all, because some of the welds are quite prominent. It's just on the smooth ones that I'm doing this, just to give it a little bit of texture. that's the welds done, guys. Give you a little pan round. So you're aiming for just try dropping the little highlights in. Where these ones are smooth, I've just put the TIG ripple in on here and around here. But that's all the brazing in now. So that part of the frame with the textures is all complete. So looking really cool now. Nice and simple. And once this is clear coated, once you clear coat this up, the silvers, the textures, all this on these brazing welds will really gloss up and pop and look totally different. Just going to go back in and do a few more little highlights and pop some of this silver out. A little bit more colour on here, just coming out of these welds. And the good thing about this is if you go wrong, you're not going to worry, because you can just get the Scotch-Brite, knock it back, and then you can just go in again and just start again. It's not a problem at all. So you've not got to get it perfect first time. So that's that part of the frame complete. That is going to wrap this one up for today's video. We've got the textures in. We've dropped the brazed welds in. Nice and straightforward. I gave you a full talk through on this and you've seen me do it. The colours that I've used, nice and simple. And just have a play, guys, some steel textures. It's a really cool effect. You don't just have to do it on a bike frame, you can do it on other stuff. You can turn things that aren't steel to steel, and it just gives it a really good effect. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you can join me in the next one, which will be part 4, and that will be sorting the battery out, doing the same sort of things, but we're going to put these welds and things in on the battery. And we're doing some logos on this frame. We're going to be doing some text coming down the frame on here, and then we're going to do some rivets, just have a few rivets on there to finish it off. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification, and I'll see you in part 4 for some more airbrushing. Cheers, guys.